All right, let's dive right in. We are going to explore a pretty radical thought experiment today, a potential blueprint for a whole new kind of economy. And it's all built on one single world-changing idea. What if we just got rid of interest completely?
No, I mean really, take a second and picture that. No interest on your mortgage, no interest on your savings account. Zip, nada. It sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? But that's the exact paradigm-shifting idea we're going to unpack in this explainer.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll ask how a world without interest could even work. Then, we'll look at its core engine, something called control money. We'll see how new money gets made, how loans become partnerships, and what safety nets are in place. And then, we'll get to the big question. Is this a real blueprint or just a beautiful dream?
Let's start right at the very foundation. This entire model challenges one of the most basic assumptions in our economy, an idea so deeply ingrained we barely even notice it's there anymore. And here it is, the big one. The central idea is that money is no longer created as interest-bearing debt. That's a revolutionary concept. It means ending the system we have now, where commercial banks literally create money when they issue loans. But if you take interest out of the equation, what in the world drives the economy?
Well, the answer this model gives us is a completely new mechanism. And you know, this is the absolute heart of the entire idea. It's a concept called Steuergeld, which translates to control money.
So what is control money exactly? Think of it like a smart thermostat for the whole economy. Its one and only job is to regulate how fast money is moving around. And it does that by either creating or deleting tiny bits of it to keep everything stable and balanced. And this thermostat has two settings. On one side, you have Schwund, or decline. If money just sits there doing nothing, a tiny fraction of it is simply deleted. Poof, gone. This gives everyone a powerful nudge to either spend it or invest it. Then on the other side, you have Zuwachs, or growth. If the economy gets too hot, a little bit of money is added to all accounts, which makes saving a bit more attractive and helps cool things down. It's this constant, dynamic balancing act.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand what this isn't. Schwund is not a tax or a fee. The money doesn't get transferred to anyone. The number in your account just gets a little smaller. And Zuwachs isn't a reward or a premium. The number just gets a little bigger. It's a direct, system-wide tweak to the total amount of money out there.
And this quote right here, it sums up the core philosophy perfectly. In this system, money isn't seen as some value to be hoarded and accumulated. It's just a tool, a means of exchange. It's just a number that we can adjust to keep the whole economic engine running smoothly. Okay, so that immediately brings up the next massive question, right? If money isn't being created by banks through loans anymore, where on earth does new money come from? How does it actually enter the system?
This model proposes two main channels. First, through an unconditional basic income. This not only gives people a safety net, but also acts as a really direct way to manage the money supply. The second channel is the central bank creating brand new, debt-free money and investing it directly into projects that benefit all of us. Things like big innovations, scientific research, or major social initiatives.
An interest-free system, well, it logically needs a completely new way of thinking about lending. So how would you borrow or lend money? The answer is a fundamental shift in mindset, away from old-school debt and toward a genuine partnership.
When it comes to business loans, this is a total game changer. An investor is no longer just a lender who gets a fixed interest payment no matter what. Instead, they become an entrepreneurial partner. They provide risk capital, and in return, they get a share of the project's actual profit. You share the risk, but you also share the success.
So what about personal loans? For something like buying a car. Well, in this system, that loan would be completely interest-free. And here's the critical part, the part that makes it all work. The repayment of that loan is guaranteed by the system itself.
Now, that idea of a guarantee leads us straight to the next crucial question. How safe is my money in a system like this? How can I possibly plan for the future if the very number in my account is designed to fluctuate? And that's a fair question, and the model has an answer. The model proposes a solution with two distinct, built-in safety nets. These are designed specifically to provide predictability and security. So here's how this double safety net would work. First, that guaranteed repayment we just mentioned. Private loans are secured because a small portion of the borrower's basic income is automatically used for repayment. Second, there's something called a compensation credit. Let's say you were saving up for a big purchase, but because of those system adjustments, you fall just a little short.
Well, you'd get a quick, interest-free loan to cover that small difference. This makes sure you can still plan for your future.
Okay, so we've now put all the building blocks on the table. A world without interest, the control money thermostat that runs the whole thing, new ways of creating money, and even some safety nets. All of this brings us to our final and maybe most important question.
After everything we've talked about, the control money, loans becoming partnerships, guaranteed repayments, could a system like this actually function? I mean, really, could it work in our messy, complex, modern world? Or are the challenges of making such a radical change just way too big?
So, what do you think? Is this a brilliant blueprint for a more stable and maybe even a more equitable future? Or is it just a beautiful but ultimately unworkable utopia? The source material suggests there's really only one way to find out, to test it. And it kind of leaves us with the question, what are we waiting for?